Welcome back, folks, to the Stache Club Wrestling Podcast on this fine Tuesday, folks. How are you? My name is John.
My name is Jimmy.
Jimmy, how's it going? Welcome back. Well, I don't know why I'm saying welcome back. Welcome back, everyone else. If you can kind of tell, kind of just coming in, it's a slow start. It's a very relaxing start. And I'll warn everyone now off the top, today is a chill vibes episode. Oh, baby, is it a chill vibes episode. We're just going to have some conversations. We're going to chit chat. But how are you? What's going on? Let's get ready to pod.
We're gonna make some magic this morning. They've been calling me Mr. Tuesday Morning for a while now. It's an honor. It's a privilege. As you can see, I am now joining the Vision. I'm not sure if you've seen what their nice little leather jackets they had last night. I'm missing the spikes, but it's very interesting to see. Like, what do you think creatively that was the pitch there? It was like, maybe what if the Road Warriors had relations with Deuce and Domino and then created those jackets?
Because did the Steiners kind of had jackets a little. Like, I think that's like the biggest reference, and they're just like, Bronson Reed, you're part of the Steiner family now. So I like them. To be honest with you, it's a highlight. The new jackets are a highlight and a standout of this past week of wrestling, and I think that's saying something. You know what I mean?
Put some spikes on it, call it a day.
I like it. I like them a lot. I don't love if the back of it is the logo, like the circle and the thing. Don't love the logo. I mean, it looks like culty, which is like what they're going for, I guess. But no, I love myself some like team unity, I guess is the word. But folks, we're gonna get into a ton of stuff and more of that. But a couple things off the bat. One, gotta remind you, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/Stache Club Wrestling. We have a ton of questions from you this week. About, 15 of them we're going to go over. So thank you everyone to submit questions. Again, that's patreon.com/Stache Club Wrestling. For $5 a month, you get a weekly bonus pod episode as well as the whole back catalog from us. And we're chit-chatting, we're telling stories. We're talking wrestling, we're talking not wrestling.
We're a couple of wild boys on the Patreon.
Yeah, Patreon gets nutty. And so I'll tell you this, obviously kind of going into it, and I hate to start off in just like a negative or lack of energy sort of way. I feel like a lot of times this show can be a let's look at the positives at wrestling, or it can be, I don't know. I like to think of it as a more positive light in wrestling. However, man, I'm not feeling too inspired. I'm not feeling too moved by the WWE right now, or Raw and SmackDown specifically. You know what I mean? So that's kind of where I'm coming from. We're obviously going to talk about everything, but it's kind of where I'm at with the product. I think a lot of people are feeling that way. And like I said, I hate to start the show off like that, but it's kind of how I'm feeling.
I think I'm a bit in the minority. I'm a bit patient. I have I'm like an elephant. I'm the size of an elephant, but also the memory of an elephant. Mm-hmm. And I remember what darker days. And right now, hey, I know things are a bit bleak. They're not, so aesthetically pleasing. Yeah. There's many issues, but there's many issues going around with multiple companies, and not just wrestling, just everywhere. So things aren't always perfect. Things can't always be WrestleMania 40 main event, last 5 minutes. Sometimes you got to grind. And I can definitely pick out some things that I'm very much passionate about, but also sometimes negativity will pay the bills. Some people collide and make a living off negativity. So maybe we could become like a negativity channel. Who knows? I can do either or. But I think I'm kind of the yin and yang, happy in the medium. I enjoyed Raw last night. NXT No Mercy was a really good show. And then of course, in my opinion, on SmackDown, a star was born. So
I agree. Well, two things on that. One, I do agree with you in terms that, but I started seeing on Twitter, which again, I don't know what's on purpose or what's rage bait, but people posted the intro of WWE from I don't know, what was the time frame? They posted it from 2011 to 2015, or 2012 to 2018, that intro, and they were like, this is where times were good. And then people started quote tweeting this era was the worst. It's so crazy that we're now seeing people's and I'm someone who always admits that a lot of my looking back on wrestling fandom is nostalgia. I think that's most wrestling fans. And, I say my era was the best era because that's the time I was a kid at. Whether it's music, movies, TV, whatever era you're a kid in, that's what you think is the best. So it's crazy to now see like people being nostalgic for like that later 2010s or 2010s in general era of WWE. But like, man, we had it so good. It's like, that was the worst era.
You don't miss 2018 Raw. You miss being a child.
Right.
You miss when you didn't have bills and the only care in the world was Bobby Lashley slapping his own ass cheek with Leo Rush pointing at him. That's what you don't miss that. You miss being a child, which like, hey, right there with our era too of like growing up like, oh, actually Great Khali wasn't a good wrestler.
Yeah,
but like
right.
stuff like that, you know, things like back then that it didn't matter that the Great Khali wasn't the best wrestler. It mattered that he was 7'4" and he was scary.
Ray's head like a grape.
He squished Ray's head like a grape. So it's interesting.
I am definitely in the camp of, and it's like with like everything. It's TV shows, it's sports where, and it's almost silly and dumb to say this since it is a scripted thing, but like WWE can't be A+ all the time. You do have to go through your like seasons and it's always been like this. There's always been low periods, there's always been down periods, and you go down, you're kind of like, this is kind of like not like great, and then you come back up, right? We didn't have the Bloodline storyline pre whatever it was 2020 2021, and like that span of 3 years was magic, and now we're back in kind of the slump in the off season. I think where, you know, it'll naturally come back up, and like, you know, same thing for rooting for a sports team or just like watching your favorite TV show is like you kind of go through a little slump, and then like, season 5 wasn't that good, but season 7 is really where it picks back up. So like, and it's always been like this, like I said. So like I'm right there with you in terms of like, hey, you know, you got to get through this point. It's what makes the highs higher. I think you know, something you also said is it makes the highs higher. You gotta go through lows.
Can't enjoy the sunny days without a few rainy days. And like, I think one of my biggest criticisms would be probably, I'm gonna butcher saying this word, but the formulaic. I think I said that right.
I think you nailed it.
Formulaic booking.
Yeah.
It's like kind of like, oh, you know, these people are feuding right now. Single match, Lyra versus Raquel, and then Bailey versus Roxanne, and like, you know, vice versa, but they're just kind of like taking turns every week leading up to the show, which is like those singles matches. Like Bailey versus Raquel last night was a fine match, but it was just fine, okay match. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm a big sports fan. Although Monday Night Football, both games sucked, so like basically it was no one was winning if you're a fan of football and wrestling, but I think actually Raw was probably better than Monday Night Football, but you know, you see what I'm saying? Like there is other stuff to be watched if you're kind of getting, you know, lazy booking and kind of throwing up matches that are a bit predictable. I might not tune in. I did tune in and I enjoyed that match, but overall, this scope of, you know, formulaic booking, I can't believe I'm nailing that word. Is definitely prevalent in WWE right now.
And I think that's why, you know, not to get into this conversation, so I do want to kind of get to the topics, but it's why having other options is nice. You know, TNA had Slammiversary, whatever it was, a weekend or two ago. We have AEW back on the come up, and check out your local indie or your you know, the DPWs of the world, or like, you know, what have you. But all right, well, I think I saw your tweet about this. I thought it was very funny. We're gonna start here with the title of the video, and I think you said that we. Thank God we finally have a title. Roman Reigns makes his return after 4 weeks since Clash in Paris. Basically, and what I think the title is, or the title is going to be, not sure yet, but like, is the Bloodline back? I don't know if that's the title you were thinking of.
I probably lean towards that. Yeah. Okay, how about this for a title? If a tree falls in a forest...
Okay, already too long. Go ahead.
If a tree falls in a forest and no one is around to hear it, doesn't make a sound... ... If you return 5 times in 1 year, is it actually a return? Is that too long for a YouTube video title? Maybe, but I think that would get the most clicks.
Yeah, he did return, and the way like commentary was playing up as if he's been gone for like 6 months. We hadn't seen him since Mania, and it's like all he did was granted he did get like, he got stretchered out at like Perry, I think, right? That was like the whole thing.
He did get massacred.
Got his ass kicked, but like, in a day, he's still Roman Reigns. 4 weeks later, boom, we're here.
I was very surprised to see him. I didn't see
expect it either.
I didn't see any murmurings. I didn't see any spoilers. I was kind of watching him on Raw, kind of a lull, because like that's where the heels were building up to a moment where the match was kind of getting a bit boring, a bit the lull in the crowd, and then bang, Roman Reigns' turn. It got me.
Oh, what a pop!
It definitely perked me up from my bed, and I was like, oh shit, throw up the ones real quick.
Yep.
But again, this is his fifth return.
Yeah, just about. But I'm feeling good about it. I like everything going on with Jimmy and Jay, the story of how Jay is kind of starting to become more and more like the tribal chief, and he's starting to get like an edge, and he's starting to kind of go to the dark side and whatever. Also, shout that kid who was eating.
Yeah, no
kid
shirt.
Who was like no shirt, going nuts. Yeah, I like Jimmy kind of almost taking the role of what Jay had in the early bloodline days, kind of like being wary or whatever. And then Roman comes back, and we get these three all aligned, all on the same page for the first time in a very long time. And Jay and Roman exchange a couple words. I think Roman kind of might have hit him with another like "I'm proud of you" sort of thing. They're locked in. Jimmy looking awfully concerned, awfully like, hey man, like you remember what he did to you, right? You remember what he did to us, like. I didn't forget. And, he seems very concerned. Maybe concerned about the way Jey Uso is starting to go. But love this. I thought it was a great close to Raw. We got Roman Reigns back. And it made me feel... I don't know, one of those moments of like... It almost showed, again, the lack of star power that WWE has right now. Because Roman Reigns came back and he stood there in the ring with a chair. And I was like... This guy is a star. This is who people come to see. This is our, and again, obviously, the sake comparison. This is our Stone Cold Rock John Cena, where he's the guy that people are buying a ticket for, and there's not many other people in the company that you can like say that about. But yeah, how'd you feel about everything in general? Kind of stuff I said and what have you.
What do you think? Top of the 7th, bottom of the 8th? Where are we in terms of this story?
I would say we were on a little bit of a rain delay, and they postponed the rest of the game for the next day.
Okay.
So now we are like, I'd say now we're at the...
We had to switch fields.
Had to switch fields. We're at the bottom of the top. Which one's the first? Which in the beginning? Top or bottom? Top.
Yep.
We're at the top of the 8th. Okay. We're at the top of the 8th, but we're gonna go in extra innings. Yep. That's the thing. That's where I'd say we're at.
I love it. Red Sox gonna smoke the Yankees today. Playoffs start today.
I'm so amped.
Let's go.
I'm such a Red Sox guy. Like I'm fully like I'm fully aware of how like I've always been a Boston sports fan. Grew up here my whole life. But I can ebb and flow. I'm not the biggest into like traditional sports, but like went to like 3 Red Sox games this year. Fully locked in on the Sox, and like I think, and you being the more sports fan, like correct me if I'm wrong, but as a Boston sports fan as I am, I feel like it doesn't count as a bandwagon fan when I jump on like the Red Sox like this. I've been a fan of my whole life. Now I just kind of don't watch them, or they're all in the background in my mind. But then once they're hot, they're in the playoffs, I'm right back. I got a battery recharge.
Totally fine.
You know what I mean?
Totally fine. Baseball is one of those long-term things, 162 games, whatever. So you gladly can hop on now.
I am
and you've been to many games too. But bring it back to wrestling. It's not a sports podcast, whatever. I think Jey Uso
I do want to, predict the score tonight. And that's it. Wild card game, folks. Start of the series, Boston Red Sox versus New York Yankees. This means something to us.
It does.
This is more of a Patreon talk, but folks, we have a Red Sox Yankees series. Whoa.
Complete BS though. They changed the rules. It's only a wild card series. So Yankees have 3 home games. No home games will be played in Boston, so that kind of sucks.
Wait, we have in this series no home games?
Only 3. It's a 3-game series, and there's no Boston home games. Yeah, it's really lame.
Oh, I didn't know. It's really
lame. The Yankees didn't even win the division, so why do you get that privilege? I don't know, but I think
crazy.
Whoever wins the series will win Game 1. Red Sox win tonight, 5-2.
Okay, I'm gonna go 4-3. 4-3 Sox. That's what I'm feeling.
Let's go. I was going to say bet the over, but I said 5-2, so I think it's 7.5. You said 4-3. I mean, maybe bet the under. Anyway, back to grabs. Back to grabs. I think Jey Uso, a long loved babyface. Guys, a bit of the underdog in many ways, a lot like the Boston Red Sox. I think with this new relationship with Roman Reigns and like where we're kind of heading, they're kind of turning into the New York Yankees, where it's like I think what really the takeaway for the main event for Raw was Jimmy's reaction to what he saw post to the tornado tag match, which was Roman really embracing Jey, coaching him up almost, kind of giving him the advice, almost like a fatherly figure. I think Jimmy's seen this movie before, and we're kind of heading to a crossroads with Jey. I'm sort of expecting, Roman to kind of get alarmed with how much Jey is going to be trying to be like Roman. And of course, there's always that, dynamic of a power struggle of like who actually is the tribal chief. I think Jey, I'm very much looking forward to the crash out of Jey Uso.
Yes.
And I think we're heading towards that. And it's going to be something of a movie. I think it could be potentially enough for the Bloodline storyline to kind of be the center of the wrestling universe again, as crazy that sounds. Whether or not we do eventually involve the MFTs, I don't know. But
please no.
I know.
I know they have to. They have to be involved. Probably. But no, you're right. I hope Jimmy has a spotlight here, because Jimmy's really like in ring and character over the past year. He's really shined, and I hope maybe I don't know what story they're gonna tell. I do think you're right. There's gonna be some sort of like power struggle thing. I would even love to see maybe like Roman giving Jey the tribal chief and letting Jey be the leader, and kind of like to be like, see, it's not so easy once you're in the spotlight. And then, I don't know, maybe like it leads to a triple threat match, or maybe Jimmy is the one to step up this time. I don't know, but I want a different story with these characters in slightly different roles, and I think that's what we're leaning to, especially with the way Jay's been acting. But I'm excited about it. In one way, I do almost feel guilty for being this excited about a Bloodline feud, because I'm also in the camp of like, you should maybe do some new stuff, and you can't just rely on All Reliable. However, when All Reliable is that good and WWE is in a place that it's in now, I'm like so happy to be like, yeah, let's do a little, not reset, but let's go back to what works. And
I think it'll be different enough where like Jey has made so much progress as a singles wrestler and a character, and I still personally, for me, again, I have bias because I am a LA Knight fan. I love Los Angeles, but I kind of really looking at Jey, I'm really disappointed in him. Like, look at you going right back to Papa, feeding you right by the hand, the mafioso. Like, you're kind of above this kind of being under Roman Reigns' guidance, and like,
I don't give a damn what the tribal chiefs say.
Yeah, what happened to that, Jey Uso? So even though we haven't gotten an official heel turn from Jey Uso, I'm already as a fan of even his, I'm like, I don't really agree with you not helping LA Knight. I don't really agree with you kind of regressing into this kind of like Roman Reigns lap boy again. And honestly, like with the kind of standing opinions of him in ring wise, and just like the maybe the Jey Uso character getting a bit stale. Yeah, this heel turn probably is going to be ramping up at some point, and it's going to hit like crack. And I'm so curious to how they're going to do it. Where will it be Jey turning on Roman, or maybe aligning with MFTs? I know you hate that idea, but I still think it might happen. Or like Jey kind of just maybe leaving the boys high and dry. I don't know, but I'm very much locked in. And also to the tornado tag match, fun. I think it was definitely the right move making it a tornado tag match.
Yeah,
not to completely copy from WrestlePalooza and make it a little bit different. Braun looked really good. I love the clothesline through the table last night.
Yeah, that was nice.
Usually that's a spear spot. Maybe there was timing off, but it still looked freaking awesome. Gave me that bit of a testosterone and adrenaline I needed. I will agree with a lot of folks too. I'm starting to get some vision fatigue with like the Raw main events. Like, it was such a breath of fresh air having that Rhea Asuka main event last week. But
it was.
They're still stars and they're still building them, so it's fine. But
would you want to see Sami Zayn find his way back into his Bloodline story eventually?
I would say absolutely not, just because of how well the U.S. title open challenge is going on SmackDown. So I would say no, but given though like Sami Zayn was never as hot as he was during the Bloodline in his role back then, but I think he's doing such a good job on SmackDown and with the U.S. Open Challenge. And again, who's to know? Who's to say? Like, you know, this is probably gearing up for him to win the Rumble in Saudi. But so I would say no. But you know, again, this nostalgia hits, so maybe that could be something to go back to.
I would at least, because I think he's on such a different path. Like you said, one with the U.S. title, and then like if he wins the Royal Rumble, and like he's just on like a trajectory to like a world title and doing his own thing, which I like. But I at least for like the story wise, I'd at least like maybe some sort of like backstage stuff or reference or whatever, because he was a big part of that main Bloodline story. And this isn't a story involving Sammy necessarily, but I think it'd be nice at least like some sort of backstage segment once like the Jey Uso thing happens, like whatever's gonna happen happens. It would be nice for me to get like a Sami Zayn backstage with Jimmy to be like, man, like, you know, we used to be this and what happened, But I think you're right. I think as of where Sami Zayn's going, I don't know if it's super
I think
needed.
LA Knight's kind of in that role of being the kind of like outside family member voice of like, oh, because Jimmy, for whatever reason, like they were kind of arguing last night on Raw, was like, you know, why are you helping LA Knight? And Jimmy's like, because that's like kind of the right thing to do.
Right.
And like, so, you know, Jimmy and LA Knight, tag team champs, I don't know. The new Usos.
We're going to jump all over the board this episode. I want to go to what I think people are considering the most shocking piece of happenings, piece of news. Sorry, I got to take my notes. Is Ricky Saints defeating Obafemi, become the new NXT champion. The reign of Obafemi is over. I want this conversation to be a lot about obviously Ricky Saints winning it and the match, but also I think there's a big discussion to talk about what now for Obafemi. A lot of people have already started to speculate, and I think the sky's the limit. But in general, this match, this win, how you feeling?
Mixed emotions, a lot of mixed emotions. I'm a big Ricky Saints fan. I was a big Ricky Saints fan starting in 2019 NWA Power when he was by the name Ricky Starks, cutting those promos in that in-studio wrestling feel. I thought NWA Power was next up. Pandemic happened, whatever. And he progressed from there, went to AEW, took over, had a lot of momentum in AEW, and then now he's here in NXT, and he gets this huge title win off Obafemi, who massive. I mean, this guy, just by look alone, I attached him to like the next 10 WrestleMania main events. This guy is a bona fide superstar. That being said, I was thinking, and when I think so highly of Oba, like this is Oba's title reign to then dethrone Adam Cole's record-breaking title reign of like 430 days.
Okay.
I think Oba's ended now at 262, so that would have been another 4 or 5 months in NXT. So maybe they already have immediate plans for Oba, which I hope they do. And those immediate plans, for me, in my opinion, is just upcoming SmackDown. Have him squash Sami Zayn like a bug, win that U.S. championship. Sean Ross Sapp singing the praises so much so that he wants Oba versus Cody Rhodes at the main event of this upcoming WrestleMania. That's how much
Love it.
I mean, I would kind of support that too, and I think that match would be glorious. So it does pay me to say, wow, this match was really good. There was a lot of drama, heartfelt warrior spirit from Ricky Saints. It does bother me a little bit that the mighty Obafemi fell on his sword from 4 DDTs. And you know, there's been discussion about, you know, size in wrestling, and it did occur to me watching this match. And as much as I'm a huge Ricky Saints fan, you know, Oba is so much bigger than Ricky Saints. But again, the match told a story of like Oba dominating, and it all makes sense. And Ricky Saints is very believable, so that's not kind of what I'm saying. But like,
he did finish the match with his finish. Did he not hit DDTs and then his finisher?
No, just DDTs. Spinning. I believe the ending was a tornado DDT.
Oh. What's Ricky Saints' finisher?
The Rochambeau, which I don't think he's capable of hitting on Oba. Maybe that could be a thing.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Admittedly, I only saw highlights from this match. I unfortunately missed NXT, but this I did get caught up enough on.
And a shocking title change too. I really didn't think Ricky was going to do it, at least here.
I didn't think so either. I really didn't.
I thought this role and the person to the throne, Mr. Obafemi, was going to be one Javon Evans, just because, like, you know, with his recent match on SmackDown against Sami Zayn, the sky's the limit for that kid. But yeah, what do you
That's
think?
kind of my takeaway. Is I'm in the same camp as you. I love Ricky. Loved him since I first saw him in AEW. I think also the sky's the limit for this kid, this as 35-year-old man, which is a whole nother discussion. Is of just like 35 is still young, but there's discussion. I think. And maybe I don't have a strong stance on this. Okay. So, but I think the likes of maybe a Blake Monroe, Jordan Grace, Ricky Saints, not everyone I think needs to spend time in NXT. And to me, sometimes it comes off as like, oh, these outsiders don't know the WWE way, so they're not ready for the big stage of SmackDown. They have to learn WWE way in NXT. I think like they could have came from AEW, not Jordan Grace, but like they could have came from AEW TNA right to the main roster. I think Ricky Saints is a big example of that, where he's already 35. He's in his career, he surpassed most of the NXT roster in terms of just like accomplishments and fame or whatever. And that kind of just goes to, which I still like him having the title, but that just more kind of goes to like, you had a Javon Evans. You still have a Javon Evans, but you had the story of Javon after, I think he was involved in maybe 2 NXT title matches or something like that?
One triple threat, one
right.
on one.
And in both those, he came very close, and he was the MVP of the matches, and people are so behind him. I believe at that time you're coming off of the Slater match at Slammiversary, I think, if I'm getting my timelines. Or no, is that coming up?
That's upcoming.
That's upcoming.
Yeah. So
either way,
some people are going to say that's going to be the match of the year, which like
yes.
I'm looking forward to seeing if I can check that out.
But I guess more what I meant, you're coming off the
Sami Zayn match.
Was the Sami Zayn match this past Friday?
That's Friday, and then this match was.
Sorry, I have my days.
No Mercy
was
Saturday.
Jesus.
So, yeah.
Oh, sorry, I'm on my days.
Evans also defeated Briggs earlier in the night too. Josh Briggs.
Okay, so anyway, point being is he's coming. Javon's hot.
Yes.
I kind of stumbled through my reasonings, but you had that story of him finally conquering Obafemi, him to be next up. You crown this new young guy. What's he, like 22 years old or something crazy?
I think he might be 20 years old.
That's crazy. And then you put it on Ricky, who I love Ricky, but I'll be the first to admit that I don't think Ricky needs the NXT title. I like that he has it. I'm not trying to diminish the NXT title, but there's other options and younger guys, people that you need to, that would need it to make, it's like, if Javon Evans won this title that night, it makes him a star and it puts eyes on him. Ricky Saints, we already know he's like gonna be a star and like whatever. I don't know. It felt, I don't know if that was your sentiment of kind of how you were talking it out, but it feels not wasted. But I think they could have had this title change could have been way bigger. And I don't think Ricky Saints is not deserving, but it doesn't excite me that Ricky Saints is the NXT champion. Okay. Because I've already seen what he's done in like AEW, and I think he's just like, I don't know. I think he's way closer to the main roster status. This could have helped out like a Javon Evans more. I don't know. That's kind of less. I
think I agree with you in the sense that not less about the NXT Championship, because I think Ricky Saints is like a shoo-in for that. Mm-hmm. I think where I do agree with you that he kind of had enough star power to just debut in the main roster. Mm-hmm. I also think too it is important for him to go in the WWE, go to NXT, and kind of be the main champion of the third brand and prove that he is someone that can work as a champion. Because honestly, given the history of WWE and their track record with guys like Ricky who are a bit shorter, I'm a little bit worried about him on the main roster. So I don't mind him being the king of NXT, holding it down. That being said, though, the dethroning of Obafemi, which like that to me is someone that should have went to Javon Evans specifically, just because that to me is almost bigger than the NXT Championship right now, where that would have solidified Javon Evans as like the new king of NXT, given though maybe Javon Evans doesn't have much time left in NXT, given how popular he's getting.
Right.
But yeah, it is interesting. The thing is, right now, the work now begins for Ricky Saints. Because if you want me to start tuning into NXT every week, you better start developing some really good television week to week. And now this is the Ricky Saints era of NXT. Let's see it, man. Let's see you cook.
I think that's mainly where I'm coming from. Is like the bigger point of the Obafemi dropping the title, because like I said, again, gotta preface, I don't have a hard stance on it. I was kind of talking out loud, but I do also still like Ricky Saints getting the title. Like, I'm a big Ricky Saints fan. Like, I'm glad he has the title. I do like that he is getting his name more known to WWE through NXT. Like, I think that's all great. But yeah, I don't know. I was shocked that he won. I didn't think I knew he was gonna have it. But yeah, I don't know. So also to the point of Obafemi, if we can, kind of just talk about, I don't know whether you want a fantasy book or what have you, but you mentioned earlier that Sean Ross Sapp was like put him at Mania. The main roster is gonna fumble the shit out of Obafemi. They're gonna Vince is gone, man. I think there's nothing. This is a absolute non-miss prospect. There's no chance they mess him up. You're right. You're right. They have no reason to mess him up. He is a home run. They're gonna whiff it.
No, do not say that, John.
They can't.
They can't. They literally cannot do. There's no way, shape, or form, unless they deliberately give him a silly gimmick and have him start jobbing. There's no chance of that happening.
So anyway, we'll move on to we had what was it, Rio and Bravo the other night. Where
I love that you brought that up. I love that you brought that up, because here's the thing. Like I said earlier, the WWE system sometimes looks at guys that aren't the biggest, that aren't going to be the poster boys, that aren't going to be next to John Cena, next to Cody Rhodes, and they once they get to the main roster, they become masked jobbers essentially, and it is a shame that. But then go back to their NXT career, Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate were considered, and the thing is, they are very talented wrestlers.
The match was very fun.
It was a fun match, and they play the roles well. But yeah, fans of those guys that know how much they can ball are frustrated, and I get that. But like, they aren't going to be selling tickets like Obafemi will be selling tickets one day. And the thing is, for me personally, those guys, I think they should definitely. It sucks to say, because the WWE is many people's dreams, but like, they would obviously be flourished and pushed better at a different company,
right?
Given that they are really talented in-ring workers and what have you. But character-wise and like marketability-wise, they've kind of reached their maximum use almost in WWE, unfortunately, because Tyler Bate was signed almost 10 years ago. And Jesus, that's crazy. It's kind of some people throwing out they've wasted his career type thing. So it's very disappointing to hear stuff like that. But given that he's still so young, so like whatever, still getting opportunities on Monday Night Raw, but in such a role that's so comedic. But yeah, so I hear you saying but yeah, they could miss on Oba. It's
wow, 27, dude. Obafemi 27. Yeah. Like I said, I'm not rooting for it.
Right.
I'm just kind of, and like, I think, even start out the show in a little pessimistic sort of mood. I don't have a lot of faith in WWE and Triple H's booking as of recently to nail Obafemi. And they have a new star on their hands. They need to nail it. I think it's very important that they nail it. I just think they're gonna fumble it, and but of anything else, I hope I want them to prove me wrong. I want to be so wrong on this. I want to come back and I want to sit here in, I don't know, 6, 7 months, 12 months, whatever, and I want to be like, damn, so Triple H has done some tough stuff this past year, but damn, did he nail Obafemi? I want to sit here and say that.
He's a can't miss prospect, John. There's no way. But even my intermediate worry would be, what if they keep him in NXT and they do a rematch with Ricky? Like, to me, a lot of people see like a world title loss in NXT, and they're like, oh, he's getting called up. But like, I'm also a little bit worried that they might not call him up right away.
No, 100%.
And they might just do some rematches with Ricky Saints, which like, we're gonna have him win back the title? I don't think so.
No, they need to. If they need to just move him from NXT, now they need to strike right now. I think you're right. With the Sean Ross Sapp thing, I think that's perfect. Have him show up for the U.S. Open Challenge.
That was my thing.
Oh, it's your thing. Oh, apologies.
His thing was him main eventing against Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania, which like some people might hate that. It was too soon, but like also I love a good rocket strap, and I think Oba's deserving of it. But yeah, this Friday night SmackDown, Sami Zayn's been killing at the U.S. Open Challenge. Let's have Oba Femi squash him like a bug, and then just have like a year-long U.S. title run, bring back prestige to the U.S. title, make it Oba Femi's. Here's the thing too. I love Oba Femi so much that like I really generally wish that he'd never lost the NXT championship. I think there's a world where you can like still promote him to the main roster and have him keep the NXT championship and just have him like never lose the NXT championship. Like I don't think this guy should ever lose.
I think even too where I would have preferred, and other companies have done this, I would have preferred him to get to a point where granted it would make the surprise of him going to the main roster like a lot less, but I almost like the thought of him relinquishing the NXT title a lot better because then he still never lost. Because now the thing that stinks is like when you call someone up, oftentimes they do lose the NXT title and they're debuting on the main roster with a pretty big loss.
Right.
So I do think it would have been really cool to like, and fine, if you don't get the shock, you don't get the shock. But it almost would have been cool if you did like, hey, Oba Femi, like you're going up to the main roster, your time is done, relinquish the title, and maybe you have a thing where, like you said, he says, I don't want to relinquish it, I want, and he keeps it, whatever the fuck. But I think there's a way to, with someone like an Oba Femi, you maybe could have done something like that where you are so dominant that you have to just give up that title and graduate to the major leagues, you know? But because now if he like. Which granted, like, it doesn't matter. Like, everyone forgets the week to week. If he shows up on SmackDown, beats Sami Zayn, like, there's not one person that's going to be like, he just lost to Ricky Saints. And he's just, you know what I mean?
And they told a good story in the match where I think Oba did take him lightly and, like, underestimated Ricky. But again, like, 4 DDTs from a kind of smaller wrestler, like, ends this guy. Like, I don't know. I can definitely see, like, the Jim Cornettes of the world freaking out about this, but... also, whatever, like Ricky Saints is a bona fide stud, and he's gonna be a star for many years.
Mm-hmm. What was the line? I think Oba. It was on Grayson Waller effect. I mean, Oba Femi said it. He was just like, "Oh, we all know you're here because you're just like Cody's boy." Yeah, or like some shit.
That got real. That got real.
I loved it. All right, where do you want to go? There's a couple other topics we can talk about. We can talk about the SmackDown Women's Championship match that everyone's kind of
I think we have to have an honest discussion about Nia Jax, which is unfortunate because for many weeks and weeks that I've been a part of this show and like we talk about the week to week, I've praised Nia Jax. She's had many like good matches against Tiffy Stratton. I feel like she's like generally improved in the ring.
Agreed.
She's killed less people in the ring, like shoot wise, which is nice to see. But then what happens on this, big time championship match on Friday Night SmackDown? She, in the Triple Threat World Title match, throws Jade Cargill into the steps. Is it her fault? I think so. It was kind of, she's done this before with Kairi Sane, I believe, in 2020, threw her in the steps, and also she got a mean gash. Jade's gash
looked gnarly.
Oh my queen, the people's champion, Jade Cargill, gets freaking one of the worst gashes I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It was absolutely brutal, but hats off to her, a star in the making. Knows to then kind of parade it and really showcase it and makes a moment
into the camera, just like yeah, fucking cool,
iconic ass moment. Yep. Love it, almost like her Becky Lynch type moment in my opinion. And then honestly, the triple threat match, given like the Nia Jax, kind of shoot injuring Jade, and that's tough to see. Like the match itself actually was very
the match was really good,
really entertaining. And then we get to the finish, and there's a huge botch, and it takes the wind out of the sails of the arena, and it's just such a shame. Very, very sad. Again, honestly, on Nia Jax, I think we have to have a discussion about Nia Jax. I know we've already been having the discussion, but I'd love to get your thoughts on it.
I do think too. A lot of it is on Nia Jax. I do think also there is something to be said about like I don't think that botched finish, I don't think is super fair to lump all on Nia Jax. Now, I do think a lot of it's on Nia Jax, but I also think it's on, the ref / backstage for doing away with like just counting the pin. Because if the referee just counted to 3, it's a lackluster ending, but we're not sitting here being like that. We would just be sitting here being like, that was pretty weird, or that seemed like it wasn't the move, which is fine. But the referee stopped counting to 3. Then you saw Nia Jax probably verbally just be like, what's going on or what's happening, talking, them doing a quick communication. And then, Tiffany just set up for the finish, and then that's the 1, 2, 3. I saw some stuff. I know some like reporting about that the finish was supposed to be Tiffany, I forget what it was. I'm gonna butcher it, but it was supposed to be like Tiffany was supposed to actually steal it, and then it didn't work out. I don't know. While I'm talking, I'll look it up and try to get a more definitive thing of what I'm talking about. But point being is like, at least for that, I think it's multiple different people. But it did. I was really enjoying the match, and I almost got to a point of like, wow, maybe someone else could win this, or like maybe Jade could win, especially if after Jade getting busted open, like a pivot to Jade winning would have been like really cool. But I think it goes to a conversation of just like either like the referee should just count 3, which is everyone's kind of saying, and wrestlers need to call stuff on the fly. There was another example that popped up this week too. I forget what it was, but of just like, I think people started using this in a tribalism way, which I don't agree with. But there was a clip of, I forget what it was, Hologram versus like whoever the fuck, and it was some miscommunication and misstep, and then instead of like the Hurricane Rana, Hologram ended up pivoting to a power bomb, and just like whatever, like small things like that where it's like if things are messing up, you should just pivot and tell a story as opposed to like verbally just being like, no, that's not the finish, what I mean, or whatever crazy. The fuck, it was pretty messy and unfortunate. But
and it's really unfortunate too. It really dictates the conversation away from a spur of the real life moment that Jade made into gold, which again, it falls under Nia Jax for injuring Jade in that way, but then Jade made it into gold. And then now that gets overlapped by the botched pin finish. And like now less people talking about the Jade moment, less people talking about Tiffy Stratton retaining and now going up against Stephanie Vicaire at Crown Jewel. Mm-hmm. So it's like, gosh darn, I think we need to have Nia Jax kind of maybe take a break for a bit. There's been, I've been trying to be a defender of hers for a while, and then for a while she had some good matches with Tiffy, and then there hasn't been many days since the last Nia Jax incident in the ring. Like right. Now I have to update it, which is very unfortunate.
I just want to get the timeline correct because I had to rewatch the clip, but it was so Jade was pinning Nia. Nia kicked out. And again, and we're not in the ring. We're not trained professionals. So like, I think there is a grain of salt, obviously, with us talking about it. But from what I heard is that Tiffany was supposed to come in and like break up the pin and steal the win. But Nia Jax ended up kicking out. And again, there could be, again, I don't know the timing or the cues, whatever. Maybe there's maybe Tiffany was late. Or maybe Nia kicked out too early before Tiffany could have even had a chance to break it up. Like I'm not really sure which is which. But then if Nia kicks out, then there goes the steal finish of Tiffy. Tiffany running in and getting it because she already just kicked out. So again, that's kind of, which I'm glad I saw this because like everything I said I still stand by, but I'm glad I kind of got that more sorted out. Where is like Nia, you stay the course, and if that referee counts 3 to Jade, obviously like WWE is so like we cannot move from plans, like we cannot fuck up things that we have planned for 7 months down the line. But you avoid situations like this. Or the other thing that I said is if Nia kicks out, Tiffany, you pivot. Don't even go for the fin. Just do the swanton. Like you ended up doing it anyway.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of it generally the only person I don't think that any of this blame is on is Jade. You know what I mean? So I think it's between, and I'm not even putting blame on the ref, because the ref blame is whoever's in the ref's ear. So I don't think, you know what I mean? So whoever's training or telling the ref to not count 3, it's on them. It's on Nia Jax for a couple of things for the match. And then Tiffany, I think, might have been late. And also, to Tiffany's credit, didn't really get the help, whatever. And now there's a whole conversation of like, and again, I'm not the expert, whatever, talk on this, but, people are now starting to maybe criticize like, these NIL performance center people who don't love wrestling. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. I do think there is a small conversation where Bianca Belair is someone who is one of the best women's wrestler that we've seen in 15 years, or not in general, period. She's one of the best women's wrestlers, most athletic in general. She's someone that's taken to the business being, not from wrestling, right? But I don't know. Maybe it's me just old school think or whatever, but there is something to like, signing less wrestlers who grinded and whatever, and they would kind of have this sort of stuff ingrained in them to go with the flow of the match, or pivot, or be on the fly or whatever, as opposed to a lot of these people who are maybe, and this is all speculation, I don't know things for sure, people who are trained to be way more like, no, this is steps A, B, and C. You do not divert from A, B, and C.
The WWE style too.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, that's actually a very good point. I will say though, I think though, for like those type of signees, like for the 2 or 3 we see on our weekly television, there's also like 1,800 that WWE then goes, yeah, no, you don't get it, and we don't see. So I think they do a good job of weeding out, like, the ones that deserve the spot TV time and a push, all that jazz. And just in taking a step back from it, like, Jade is leaking from her face. This is a high intensity match.
1,000,000%.
Mistakes happen. So yes, like, I'm kind of shitting on Nia Jax more so about the injury to Jade, and then kind of overlapping everything with the botch. But like, botches happen in wrestling, and it's unfortunate. And then I think too, which I'm glad you brought it up, and it really, I think, is the icing on the cake. And really, what my hard stance of this is, the referee should be trained to do 3 no matter what.
Yeah.
Like, that is a ridiculous new rule if that is the case. Because that's like, you need that legitimacism, and like, you can't have this happen. You can't have this happen. It's such a bad look.
And it obviously, like, if Jade ended up winning that title because the referee counts, she stopped counting 3 when Tiffany was pinned. So like, the result would have been the fucking same.
Right.
So it still would have been messy or whatever, but like, result would have been the same. And it would have been less of a conversation. People still would have been shitting on, like, well, Nia just kicked out. Like, this doesn't make sense. Like, 100% it still would have been shit on for a botch, but I think to a lesser confusing degree of, I don't know. It was just it's a tough look when you're just like about to count the 3, then you have the person just like straight up look over and they have a little conversation. It's like, not that I'm into wrestling for realism, but you're right. There needs to be that the little sprinkling of, realism in terms of the work rate or the working, in terms like, if you don't hit this spot, that referee is still counting 3, and it's up to you to get to point A to point B, via the referee's actual rules, I don't know.
Heal up, Jade Cargill. I love you, Queen. You're going to come back maybe with a mask and get that world championship.
Yeah,
Please.
I think people were saying like it could have, and I kind of agree, could have been an opportunity to have like a Becky the Man moment. Like, imagine if Jade won that night with like the blood and everything.
Also, I think created by Nia Jax. I think Nia Jax.
Yeah, you're right.
So there's a whole weird thing going on.
You are right. All right, where do you want to go from here? I kind of want to chat about.
Want to wrap up SmackDown?
No. Oh my God, no.
Jacob Fatu return. You got the Sammy Evans match.
I know. I'm just kidding. Yeah, let's go to that. I want to pivot to some positivity in women's wrestling.
Yeah.
With like Iyo and Rhea, but there's not much. I mean, we had like the progression of the story, but ultimately there's not much. We're getting the tag team match at Perth and at Crown Jewel, so that's made official, which is great.
Iyo got smurfed again.
Yeah, just look at
the picture.
It killed me. Hold on, let me write this down. We're talking about it, and we'll pivot. Because you're right. I do have, because maybe my match of the week might just so happen to be on SmackDown. Don't know.
Wow.
But yeah, it was so funny how they throughout the whole night they cut back to like backstage segments of like Iyo Sky where she's like talking to Kyrie or she's being consoled by Rhea Ripley. At that point, it's like an hour and a half or 2 hours from where she like got hit with the miss, and she's still fucking blue.
And one of the people were asking, like, can you see it all? Can you see it all still? And it's like, what are you talking about? Get in the shower. Take a shower.
Help the girl. Someone get her a rag or something. And I think too, like, she even had like, maybe it was made blue because like the whatever. Like she had like this little like, not jewelry, but little like gems on her eyes, and like her like necklace or whatever was now blue. It's like, I don't know, I'd imagine that was because of the mist, but like just so funny how after a half hour, this poor girl being backstage like, ow, fuck, and no one's helping her, and
insane.
She's still blue.
Insane. Looking like a Smurf. Oh.
But yeah, we got a lot of like really good progression here. We got, you know, Rhea kind of standing up for her, Iyo being just like, no, but they're my family. She's so manipulated. We got a lot of storytelling in terms of like how Kyrie is like just like being manipulated by Asuka, and like whenever Kyrie breaks free is gonna be great, and Iyo finally like, running in and helping out Rhea, and a lot of the part that killed me, Kyrie backstage. And she's like, leave me alone, Kyrie. And Kyrie gives her the photograph of the three of them.
Oh, beautiful picture,
I love
too.
This story.
Very wholesome.
Love this story.
I love this story, too. This is like Days of Our Lives.
I'm good.
Jordan, I even said last night, this feels like a SmackDown vs. Raw 2007 season mode storyline.
Yeah.
Asuka is just so power hungry, and she wants to lead this faction again and be like the I mean, definitely seemingly the world champion at some point, but just like, definitely just has Kyrie under her thumb. And Iyo is so conflicted, doesn't know what to do. I still think there's a chance Iyo might go back under Asuka's leadership. I still think
she's still very much just like, I love her and that's family, and you know, I agree.
And Rhea's just my girlfriend. Like this is a side thing. And what a insane elbow that Rhea took. I think Asuka was kind of holding Rhea, and Kyrie hit that elbow, freaking gruesome. Mm-hmm. I absolutely adore this. I cannot wait for the tag team match at Crown Jewel. This was absolutely magic, and the best storyline going in wrestling right now.
Yeah,
that Rhea Ripley pop, holy shnikes!
Yeah,
crazy.
No, every single week, man, she is, and people wonder why is she on TV so much, because she's like the most popular wrestler in the company. Isn't that crazy?
And I'll tell you what, Iyo Sky is a bad actress, but it's so bad it's good. I'm telling you.
See, people are shitting on it. I don't like
the facials of like in the ring right before Asuka and Kyrie came out, like her looking all sad. Like that was such a.
I think her.
I love it though. At the same time, I'm saying it's bad, but I do love it.
I love the. See, I disagree. That's bad. I think I think a lot of it too is just like I think people hear like the accent and maybe like, you know, the English words not being pronounced like they're used to, and then are like, she's a bad actress. Like I think her facials, the facial expressions have been like have been top notch. I'll tell you what though, she's not beating Kyrie in terms of if we're going for the Oscar, she's not beating Kyrie. Kyrie back there with all the facial expressions and like the
hard
emotion.
To cry in command. Like, you know, it's a real profession. So, but I'm loving it. I am loving it.
There hasn't. Everyone in wrestling's a bad actor, which also is why I don't love people being like, "Ew, is like a bad actor." They're like. Most segments in the past 20 years, acting wise, are terrible. They're all shitty. Like, what are we? So just now we're nitpicking the acting. They're all usually shitty. You know what I mean? I hate to like take it to that, but like in terms of wrestling, you know what I mean? It's like Batista, Cena, and The Rock made it to Hollywood as the best wrestling actors. Only one of those people are actually good actors.
That's a fair point.
You know what I mean? They're all shitty. It's all shitty theater. Okay, let's go to I do want to talk about the rest of SmackDown, and then there was one more thing that I wanted to. I forget what it was, but yeah, sure, we can chat about what have you on SmackDown. What do you want to go to?
The return of Jacob Fatu was nice to see.
Fatu.
Back in that cool ass Raiders jersey where he wears it backwards because it's cool because it has his name on it, not because it's a mistake. People did not clock me wearing my jersey backwards a few weeks ago.
When you first did it as a reference, like people were like, why the heck is he wearing it backwards? I don't know. Have you not watched this? Have you not watched SmackDown for the past?
All the cool wrestlers and dudes are doing it. So I wanted to be a part of that. He flattens Drew McIntyre, which wow. I think Drew is in a boot too. He's selling the injuries from WrestlePalooza. I'm looking forward to this rivalry. There's not much to say other than I'm super happy to see Jacob, and then the kind of regression of Drew's stance in the company is definitely something to kind of look at. But again, it's also really good for a superstar of Jacob Fatu's stature to be feuding with Drew. So overall, I'm just looking forward to see where they go with this, and I will probably put on a banger of a match soon.
Yeah, I have two things on Jacob. One, people on Twitter were like, where the hell's Jacob been? Where the hell's Jacob been? He's like, which I did agree to an extent, but also he's only been off TV for 4 weeks. He'll be back. Everyone's fine. He'll be back. He's wrestlers leave for a little bit and then come back. He's fine. What I do agree with though, in terms of that bigger point, is I don't know. You're talking about regression of Drew McIntyre, which I fully agree. I think there's been some regression of Jacob Fatu. I think I'm not going to go as far as say as they fumbled, which I think gives me a little bit of credit of why I'm a little nervous for Obafemi on the main roster, is they had Jacob Fatu. He the fastest rising star. He was on top of the world to the point where they even had to be oh, this guy can't be a heel anymore. He's getting cheers out the building. I thought he was going to win a world title right then and there, at least this year. And it almost feels like they realized he was becoming too big of a star, and they took him off TV, cooled him the fuck down. And then, I don't know. I just think it's frustrating that WWE is so scared. They're so fucking scared to do anything. Why can't you just take a little bit of a risk and give this guy, Jacob Fatu should have won the world title this year. Dominic Mysterio should win the world title this year. Dominic Mysterio, this is not to pivot this into a totally different conversation, but Dominic Mysterio is carrying this company on his fucking back. And I think it's crazy to say, I know, but you listen to that fucking pop that he gets. He is the Intercontinental Champion, the AAA Champion. He's carrying two companies on his back. He's a star. And when he won last night against Rusev, and he did which popped me, the Eddie Guerrero chair hit, boom. He's not as good as Eddie though, because he got caught. And then he does the whatever they call the donkey kick, whatever. And he won. The place erupted for this heel, shitty conniving heel, whatever. And you would think if you got a guy that's getting this response, is any normal company would be let's maybe give this guy the world title, or let's get, you know what I mean?
They gave him a world title of a different company and the
Sure.
IC title, and he's in the faction. Dom, I'm not worried about, but I do understand your worriedness of Jacob Fatu. I think the common denominator with a lot of these guys who kind of get cooled down is feuding with Solo Sikoa. I think that is something that definitely derailed him. Maybe purposely, I don't know, but it definitely, he lost his U.S. championship, and then that feud just kind of got a little bit boring because the Bloodline's getting a little bit tired of this point.
Right.
But now I think we're rebuilding, and I think him versus Drew McIntyre makes the most sense. But on the subject of Dirty Dom Mysterio, the crowd loves this kid. I'm a big Rusev supporter, and I was kind of saying going into this match last night, if you don't think that this match is going to end in El Grande headbutt, then you're nuts.
You're not crazy to think that.
Yeah, I wasn't, but I was gleefully wrong. This was I think not first ever, but if this makes any sense at all, this was the first ever clean, dirty win.
Yeah,
because
for Dom,
because a lot of us were very. Not a lot of us, but me and you were kind of, looking right after WrestleMania when Dom won the U.S. The IC championship, and I personally hope he beats Gunther's reign. I hope he has his title forever. And the thing is though, how many times can you do Judgment Day interference, and how many times can you kind of skate by the skin of your teeth and all that stuff? Here he is, against Rusev, a world beater, a massive man, a destructive beast, and he put on a very entertaining match. I think made Rusev look really good too in the match itself. A huge kick out from the Machka kick. Dom kicked out, which I thought, wow, here this boy's really kind of on his own doing his thing. The finish, the best part. Mysterio grabbing the titles, starts to walk off.
So good.
Rusev stops him, throws him into the ring with the titles. Referee takes away the AAA mega, but then Rusev no-selling the IC title shot to the back of the head.
Yeah.
Love that. And then, like you said, not as good as Eddie. Tries to do that. He did a thing. Fails.
Love it. He did it like so blatantly in front of the ref too, which was so funny.
So funny. Which then kind of really pissed me off with the finish of the next following match. Again, too much ref distraction back to back. Damn it, D'Lo. But Mysterio, I almost kind of wish Rusev no-sold the nut shot a little bit. I thought that would have made him look like made of gold and silver, whatever. But what a freaking win over a legitimate competitor and challenger for the U.S. title. Love it. Dom, I think it's a bit hyperbole to say he's carrying the company on his back.
Well, that's a TikTok clip. Sorry.
Sure. I love it. But I support it, and I want it to happen. I think, Dom, it's a week by week, day by day, I kind of open up to, because I remember I kind of threw out there, and it's not a crazy hot take to say, but Dom main eventing WrestleMania one day. I always kind of say, probably be a night one, whatever, maybe against his dad. Now, I think he can maybe do it on his own merit and have a night two main event WrestleMania one day off just the fact that he's Dom motherfucking Mysterio.
I know. And again, sure, I don't disagree that I was being a little hyperbolic, but I don't, I think do I think he's not number one in the company, but my point with all of that was he has He has it right now. Maybe I don't think he should get the world title tomorrow, but you're right. And even as short as 2 years, I think he's guaranteed for a world title. He's so popular and over, and he's only getting more and more talented, and people are like, his wrestling match wasn't the best. Every single week is improving. His 619 is actually pretty nice now. It used to be real shitty.
Hit a surprised one on Rusev. I think Rusev was getting back into the ring, kind of hit him with one.
And then hit the back to back for the legitimate one. I think. And again, it's what makes me nervous is because I just look at a Dominic Mysterio, Obafemi, and Jacob Fatu, who I think are all just young guys who are the future of this industry, but you need to capitalize on it now. And I said this in one of my own videos. The problem with WWE right now is you can't back when in our day, and I hate to bring it to this, I'm just our day was better than that. But you had a young Randy Orton win the IC title and the world title before he was 25 when he won the world title, was 24.
Yep.
So before he's 25 years old, he already has the IC title, the whatever the fuck, world heavyweight, whatever, or WWE championship, whatever the fuck it was.
World heavyweight, yeah.
And then I don't know, other examples of these younger guys or newer guys, winning these world titles quick. And so now, years later, when we're looking back on a Randy Orton or a John Cena, we're like, wow, remember what they accomplished early in their career before they even touched 30? You can't, you got to do stuff like that nowadays. Because now we're going to look back in X amount of years when Dominic Mysterio is finally main eventing a WrestleMania, but we're not going to be able to look back and be like, God, remember when he won the world title when he was 28 in a shocking whatever? Remember this shocking thing that Obafemi showed up and squashed Sami Zayn to get the U.S. title? It's you can't, the line that I said, which I was really proud of myself, I said, you can't look back on something nostalgic if you don't make the history now.
Love it.
You know what I mean? You gotta
print the shirts,
do stuff.
Yes.
Do something. Do something fun. Do something crazy. Because if Randy Orton never won, Randy Orton still be Randy Orton today. But if Randy Orton never had the accolade, if he never won the IC title early, if he never won the World Heavyweight Championship at 24 years old, we wouldn't have this thing that commentary says every fucking match of the youngest world champion, and that adds to his, no pun intended, legacy. I don't know. They're being safe right now for the moment, but you have to help these young guys out for the sake of 10 years down the line for their legacy and accolades. Because what the fuck is it if you have this main eventer? They've only won the WWE Championship twice. They've been in the company for 15 years.
Right.
And it's like, what has he been doing? So he's just a star now, but we love him. But like, he could have been a star for the past 8 years. I don't know. I'm kind of just feel like I'm talking in circles. But like, I don't know. It's a frustration that I've had seeing these young guys. It's where my nervousness of an Obafemi comes from. And I don't like having this nervousness, but it's where it all stems from. And I do think these three guys have just the brightest futures. They're going to be great, but I'm just nervous.
I totally agree with you and understand your nervousness and appreciate where you're coming from. With Dom, though, right now, I think they've done an immaculate job. He's been given enough. You're right. Just in terms for Dom.
Dom's a little bit of an exception.
Yes.
To what I'm talking about.
The AAA Mega Championship is huge for him. This IC title reign has been fantastic. I think that the cap off the year for Dom and what would really put him in the stratosphere. And it sounds cliche and it sounds like, Jimmy, what are you talking about? Like it's not the biggest deal in the world. I want to see him and Liv Morgan tie the knot.
Yeah,
we need a wedding on Monday Night Raw. And of course, a wrestling wedding does huge ratings always.
Dude, I'm in for
Liv and Dom. I mean, it's going to be the most magical.
So funny.
And then of course, who ruins it? You pick whoever you want to ruin it. Whether it be Roxanne, Rhea, whatever. Ghost of Dominic's past. If you want to do all of them, I don't know. But like, I think a Monday Night Raw wedding featuring Dom with maybe Liv. Yes, Liv, and then Roxanne. Liv stuff is going to come to fruition. I think soon. They've kind of been like not highlighting as much Roxanne's, I don't want to say lust for Dom, but like kind of the lovey-doveyness.
I think it's fair. I think maybe because like maybe Liv's timeline is more pushed back or something. I'm not really sure, but like, no, you're right. I haven't seen as much like Roxanne being all flirty. But yeah, my guess is maybe they're waiting for the Liv Morgan to, be
healthy,
be the other side.
But give me a wedding.
I honestly, I love it. Like I love it. I love that idea.
Oh, imagine like the drip that you would have too for his.
It'd be so fucking goofy.
When he comes out with a lowrider to the.
And he has like the fucking cans, like on the Just Married on the lowrider or whatever the fuck.
We might have to get this to Dom's desk immediately.
I know. I mean, he's gonna like imagine like he's gonna have like the all white suit with the fucking mustache and mullet and like the cowboy boots and shit. He's gonna look like a fucking dirtbag.
And of course, when the wedding goes awry, his crash out is gonna be give me it. I need it. And
that's great. I'd love it. And that's what I mean is like even stuff like that, I was kind of on my little rant there. I was talking about like world titles, like even let's like stuff like that, moments. Moments. Yeah. And like I think WWE right now is getting a lot of criticism for them only caring about moments, which is true. I fully agree with that, but they only care about moments for the top 4 stars. You gotta if you're creating moments, give a moment to like the young guys in their 20s who are gonna be the future of this industry. Give them, Braun Breaker it's shocking that Braun Breaker is I like the vision, but I think what Braun Breaker is doing is great, but
his star has been hindered for sure.
It's been a little hindered. He could have debuted and been at the top of the card fucking immediately.
Yep.
And I do like the story they're building. I do think, him and Seth are eventually going to have the blow off and like, but I don't know. For some reason, I think that it paints the picture to me that WWE is scared. And I think you throw a Braun Breaker in that line of a Jacob Fatu, an Obafemi, Dominic Mysterio, and I'm sure there's other names of these young guys you have, and they're just scared. I don't know.
Scared. Let me ask you a question.
Talk to me.
Do you like candy?
Candy. Sure.
Not that candy. Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton.
Oh, in terms of
that's their name. That's their name together. Candy.
Oh.
That's what they're calling themselves now. Candy.
That's crazy.
Isn't that? It's pretty crazy. Randy Orton, of course, made the save on SmackDown, helping Cody Rhodes against the Vision. We have Seth Rollins versus Cody Rhodes at Crown Jewel. Look forward to. They built a little bit of that on SmackDown, and then more so on Raw. But yeah, we had a little bit of candy on SmackDown, and then Cody and Seth on Raw. What is kind of going back to their, the beats of their previous feud, the whole, I left and you were my shield at WrestleMania, this and that.
Right.
Still much looking forward to it, but do you want a spoiler about what's going to happen at Crown Jewel or no?
Hit me with it.
Seth's going to win. It's going to be the help with the new Vision member, Brock Lesnar. It's gonna be Brock Lesnar helping Seth beating Cody, because Cody has mentioned Brock in both promos. Like, oh, you make all the decisions, Seth. You know, how come Paul's helping or announcing Brock? Did you make that decision? He mentioned that on SmackDown, and of course last night on Raw. I think what has to happen and what's gonna happen is Brock Lesnar being maybe like not like wearing my jacket with the Vision on it, but like you know. You're aligned with Paul Heyman, who is the mastermind of the Vision. They're going to be together. And I think it's going to lead to Braun Breaker versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. A little kind of like faction warfare, or, you know, the split happens there. Which side will Paul Heyman be on? Probably, I would assume Braun Breaker side, hopefully. Maybe not actually.
I think you take Brock.
You think Brock's side, and then Braun's a babyface.
Yeah.
So that would actually kind of smack. Braun Breaker gets his big WrestleMania match moment there, defeats Brock. I think that'd be kind of cool. That would also at least help save face a little bit with why the booking decision of Brock beating Cena at Palooza. If Braun Breaker gets a huge win against Brock at WrestleMania, I think it would be something to be like, hey, looking back on, like, it wasn't the worst thing in the world for that to happen. But I think Brock will cost Cody at Crown Jewel and help Seth get his first dub against Cody.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't disagree with you that it seems like where the story's going, especially with Brock Lesnar's, like, you know, recent alignment again with Paul Heyman and like all the mentions of it. I don't know. And it even goes to like real life stuff. Like, is Brock sticking around? Because if he's with the Vision, you know, not that he's going to be on TV weekly, but there'd be a lot more Brock, or there should be, at least in terms of we needing him for the story. Brock
just
on TV.
Pay him to show up for the big shows and call it a big moment, and then that's what Brock Lesnar is now. Is just like the few times they decide to pay him and to show up, pay-per-view,
the moment guy.
I'm the moment guy, and then build up to a match, probably Brock versus Cody at some point, and then
I don't know if I fully see. I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but I don't know if I fully see Brock like fully joining the Vision. I don't know, but I do think like if we're not doing anything else, then what are we doing in terms if we're not doing some sort of Paul Heyman, you know,
and Seth? I think Seth absolutely for sure 1,000% needs to beat Cody Rhodes. I need to beat him. He's very serious about that. I know on pay-per-view it's 0-3, but in actuality, and with house shows and stuff, he's 0-22 against Cody Rhodes. What a graphic. So this is like an absolute must-win for Seth. And I think
Seth needs to win.
Any means necessary, I think that means that, hey, you know, that big giant, you know, albino monkey that you just got to come back to WWE, Paul Heyman, I might need his help. And you might need to show up at Crown Jewel.
Or what if... Because he said, he's like, I call the shots and da-da-da. What if he's losing and then Paul Heyman sends out Brock, and then Seth's like, no, I didn't make this call. Like, I don't want Brock. But Paul's like, no, you can't do this on your own. I brought this guy in. And it turns out, because I think Seth was lying about him calling the shot.
For sure.
About Brock, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think Paul Heyman has a little bit more control than Seth wants to lead on.
I like that a lot more.
You know what I mean? But I don't know if you can do that and still get a Seth Rollins win.
That's fine.
Okay.
Keep that going. Keep Cody being like, yeah, I'm 23-0 against you, Seth. And because they're going to be, like they mentioned last night on Raw, they're the future of this company, even though they're both like 40-something. Like, but I think they're talking about future in terms of like the whole thing going on of like who's going to lead the company once Triple H is gone, and like who's going to be sitting back there in Gorilla, like kind of that.
Which is like also a very funny conversation they had of like, why is it automatically going to be like whoever was the top wrestler is gonna be the...
I like that rule. I think it makes so much sense. If you are the man for X amount of time, you also then get it's like a kingship. It's like
right.
Who's the king?
That's funny.
I love it.
Okay, I mean, we touched upon like Randy and Cody a little bit, but like there's not much more else to like cover in terms of like sure, people are like, how many times are gonna tease it and da-da-da, which like sure, but like I don't know. It seems like now we're kind of finally on the train of doing the Cody-Randy feud. He looked at the title again, like, you know, bing, bang, boom. But when they eventually finally decide to do this legacy story, like, I'm fully in. It's fully great. But long-term storytelling, you know, you get little teases here and there, and like I'm not mad at it.
They better do it though, because it's been a while. I think Cody's been looking at that title weirdly since what, like Backlash?
Yeah, Randy has, yeah.
Like, come on now, we got to do it at some point.
Yeah, I mean, it's a thing where like even, you know, when they finally pulled the trigger on, Asuka turning on Iyo. It was like, finally, okay, they did it. They did the trigger. Like, that's, again, it's another thing that WWE is not the best at right now, is like pulling the trigger and just doing the thing, where like they keep on teasing like the Randy thing or like what have you.
And I hate to get ahead of ourselves, but like, what do you think they're doing for War Games? For the men's?
I have no idea at this point. I mean,
have you seen like the fantasy warfare graphic of like basically all the top babyfaces versus like Drew, Brock, and the Vision?
I haven't seen. I believe it, but I haven't seen
like that. Like it would make sense. Like it would be like Team Roman Reigns.
The
John
Vision
Cena,
does make
Cody.
sense to involve.
Yeah.
Because like I would rather the Vision. Obviously, we were kind of like weeks ago we were talking about like MFT, but they've been way cooled down, like kind of rebuilding at this point.
I don't want John Cena in War Games though, personally. That does not. You're wasting one of John Cena's matches in a big multi-man match that's entertaining on its own merit.
People thinking he's gonna be in War Games.
Some people. So the fantasy graphic I'm talking about, it's Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, John Cena versus Brock Lesnar, Drew McIntyre, and the Vision.
I mean, like,
crazy fun match. Like, who's to say, like, oh, that wouldn't bang? It probably would. But I think you can do something that makes a bit more. I don't want to say sense, because that match does make sense. But like, I think you're wasting a John Cena match putting him in War Games. So
yeah, not once did I really think that Cena was going to be in the War, even just because he's like because of his health and his body.
Sure.
I don't think they're putting him through War Games.
And then War Games is in San Diego. What better way to have San Diego be represented than by Dom Mysterio, who could definitely use a rub against John Cena, or of course John Cena. Again, a rub could be, you could still lose and get a rub,
100%.
But yeah, John Cena getting the Grand Slam would be magical.
Imagine,
and AAA mega champion John Cena, but
not that they want to like go full Dom face. I think what they need to just keep doing what they're doing with Dom. I think don't change his character. I think eventually they need to accept that he's getting cheered and he's like technically on paper a face, but he still needs to be cheating and do it. Do not make him like a baby face. Yes. But like imagine the end of that match, you have John Cena versus Dominic Mysterio. They have a pretty good match. At the end of that, Dom's all still healing it up. He tries to win, whatever. Cena raises that kid's hand. And then, like, sure, like, the crowd's already going to cheer for him. So, like, who gives a shit if you're leaning into the face or whatever? Don't change Dom at all. And he can be cocky now, but, like, the GOAT raised my hand or whatever. Like, if you just have Cena raising that kid's hand in San Diego, beautiful.
Please.
You know what I mean?
Please.
Do we have any other? I know we missed like some stuff, but is there any other big hot button issues before we get into our match / wrestler of the week?
My iPad died, so I don't have my notes no more. I think we kind of nailed.
I think
everything.
we nailed the biggest stuff.
Yeah,
obviously,
biggest stuff.
We have more. We had more Bailey. Bailey and Lyra progression, which is solid. Mellow don't Miz. Miz is getting sick of the Miz, but like. I kind of just wanted to hit on like the biggest stuff. I don't know. WWE is wasting Julia's career. Just kidding.
You don't like the tag team match that stole the show on SmackDown? I love Kiana James. Big Kiana James.
I know Kiana James is great, but like I don't know.
BFAB is tall.
BFAB's tall as hell.
So tall.
We are gonna talk about one match in a second. Just going through. Obviously AJ. I mean, like we mentioned Los Americanos. I don't feel the need to. I was gonna say about Los Americanos is the El Grande gimmick is still funny to me. I've said it weeks in the past. Like I do almost like now. I'll say even like this iteration now of it now. Like Kaiser with the like, Mom, I speak a little Spanish, sort of like whatever.
I know it's a cliche at this point, but I watched his entrance last night, and the one word I kept thinking, aura. He has an aura about him.
The addition of the Kate is great.
I think that's what it was.
It was Bravo and then Raya, where the fuck it was.
Yes. One is blue, one is red.
Yep. In ring, like, it was a fun match. Like, you know what I mean? It was a fun match. It was silly.
AJ laid in that phenomenal forearm.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
I will say, like, before they went to commercial, they did pull up the graphic. It was AJ Styles and Dragon Lee versus like the two luchadors.
Yeah.
And I saw that like it's always happens on Twitter. Someone screenshots it and like the cat like, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah.
I did have that moment of like, what in the world? Like it was a fun enough match. AJ Styles had like a little promo that he's gonna I can't wait he can't wait to beat up John Cena.
Classic.
And had a little moment, which was nice.
What do you was that the plan all along? Do you think we got worked? Do we not actually have a voice, and they just want us to think we have a voice? Do you see all? What do you think about all that jazz? Do you think that? Let me just ask. Do you think that was the plan for a while? AJ for Cena at Crown Jewel, because a lot of reports. Meltzer came out and said that was the plan before the whole fan thing and Cena's tweet or whatever. So I kind of think yes. I think that might have been. I think it was at least planned since Cena's face turn.
I would be shocked if at this point they hadn't had everything else planned out, because like, you know, and you look at it in the boring perspective. At the end of the day, it is a business. They have the next like year and a half at minimum planned out, at least like the general scope of things, right? I can't imagine, especially like with it being a big match at a big event like Crown Jewel in Perth, like I don't think that's a spot where they just like if it wasn't planned, then the reality of it is that they didn't have a match for Cena, or they had a different match for Cena and they went on the fly like, screw it, we're gonna give them AJ Styles.
Yeah. But to kind of introduce it in a way that it's like, oh, this is the fans doing, I think is kind of like, a bit interesting that you're manipulating the fans in a way that are like you think you're giving them the mindset that they booked the show in some aspect, or just kind of like to kind of wrap it into a way of like, oh, you guys are getting what you asked for, but like this was the plan all along. I think is kind of like it kind of icky a little bit, not icky, but like interesting. I guess I'm trying to articulate.
You enjoying the show?
That's basically
this is all.
Sure,
it's all part of the ride.
Exactly. Who cares?
I don't know. It's interesting because like you're right. They did. I don't know. I don't think WWE is above. They've never been above manipulating, you know, their fans into thinking one way or the other. But I don't know. It's for a while. It definitely did seem like maybe like the fans forced it in. But I don't know.
Maybe they don't want to give us credit. Maybe like they put those reports out there just to, you know, work us even more in the other way. You know?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, at this point, if people still think that the Yes movement was organic, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's something like I mean? They're nuts for thinking that they did that on purpose. No chance.
No, I mean like organic in terms of the fans. The fans said it. I'm being the pessimist about it.
You think that was the plan all along?
I think that was the plan all along. Oh. The fans did not. The fans did not do as much as they think.
They got in the ring and started doing Yes, John. What do you mean? They literally stormed the ring. What are you talking about? You don't watch the product, I guess.
You're right. It's like
we took over the show.
This is such a funny point. But I don't know. All right, I think that's it. We'll move on to our match/wrestler of the week. And I feel like I kind of led the horse to water a little bit with mine. I'll just pull off the Band-Aid. My match of the week we'll start with is, in fact, as someone who did not watch all of the NXT show all the way through, so I don't feel justified enough to give one of those matches the match of the week. But my match of the week is Javon Evans versus Sami Zayn, because I think you mentioned it briefly earlier that they made a star out of this guy. It's exactly what the U.S. Open Challenge should do. It embodied the John Cena U.S. Open Challenge, where you give these younger, new guys, these fresh faces, an opportunity. And Javon Evans took that fucking ball and ran with it. It kind of, it really influenced the conversation we had way earlier about stars and young guys, and Javon Evans specifically, and like, how much more time does he have on NXT in general? Should he have won the NXT title? And, X, Y, and Z. But yeah, I think I saw a lot of sentiments of being like, oh, this, like, that Javon Evans and Sami Zayn match was the moment that either, like, A, made kids wrestling fans, or B, that's the match that, like, a lot of kids' lives got changed and influenced that night, and now Javon Evans is like their favorite wrestler. Again, it's similar to me, and like when I was a kid, first time I saw Rey Mysterio do a fucking 619 or like a springboard frog splash, whatever the fuck, I was like, holy shit. Like, seeing Javon Evans hit that massive fucking cutter, and if you've never seen that before and you're a kid, you're like, oh, this is my favorite wrestler, like 100%. So that's why that's why that's my match of the week, and also credit to, you know, a Sami Zayn throughout that.
Big time.
All right, what's your match of the week?
Match of the week, NXT No Mercy, Blake Monroe versus Jordan Grace, weaponized steel cage match.
Hell yeah.
This match had everything. I think Blake Monroe has quickly become one of my favorite characters in wrestling. The weapons you had this match, you had the hairdryer cord being used. I think Blake had a bag of diamonds that she ended up getting suplexed on. And then Blake wearing the Dudley Boys camo pants really did something to my heartstrings. And then the finish of the match, which was pretty crazy. Blake using some powder at the top of the steel cage, blinding Jordan Grace. My only issue is I think the wrong person did win. Jordan Grace did win this match, but it was, you know, a get back match.
She like cut her hair off too. Like she had scissors. She was cutting her hair too.
Cut her hair, a little impromptu haircut. The kind of the Samoan drop, maybe kind of Celtic cross through the table from the close to the top of the cage onto a table, finishes the match. Phenomenal showing. I love Blake Monroe, and I think they probably have one more match between the two, and Blake will probably get her the win in the rivalry. But like, wow.
Yeah, it's a match that, like I said, I caught up enough and saw highlights enough to be able to like kind of talk about NXT a little bit, but that's something I want to go back and watch that full. The Blake Monroe's run in NXT is unfortunately, and I hate to admit it, something that I haven't been as on. As much as I've loved Mariah May's work in AEW, I haven't and it's to no fault of my own. Just haven't been as much paying attention to that NXT run. I think it's something like once she goes to the main roster, I think I'd be disappointed. Like, I wish I caught her NXT stuff. So it's something I want to make a point to start paying attention to a lot more.
Me too. I think it's a bit disappointing about like. From my perspective, again, it's more so I need to put the time in to watch programming and stuff. But at the same time, there's a TNA NXT invasion happening right now, and it's not
we
like
didn't even talk about that.
But it's not like super the top story right now, and it's kind of like an unfortunate, I thinkness to the way it's been, because like it was kind of a anticlimactic finish to Oba for Trick last Tuesday. I thought it wasn't the best either. Cool to see Matt Cardona on WWE program for the
love it.
I don't even consider him much of a TNA guy though, so that's kind of a
he's kind of an indie guy.
But yeah, it's interesting that's not being the top story in wrestling in my opinion.
I think it could get there. I just think they did it in such a weird way. Like I just like for all it was hyped up to be of like TNA's invading and they like spoon fed it to us like we were fucking babies, and they all show up and like to a point where there's like 20 of them just like standing in the stands. It's like, what are they gonna do? Is like, I don't know. It's kind of lame to me. And also like, I don't know. It is just like those maybe 4 like big quote unquote big names. I think we had who is there? Santana, Cardona,
Eric Young
was there. It was like, I don't know, a couple other big names that, I don't know, whatever. It was like, I don't know. It's fine. It's interesting enough, but I don't know.
We'll see how I think they're doing Invasion.
Yes.
I don't think it's a PLE. I think it's just a regular NXT show.
I haven't looked into it, but yeah, you might be right.
Wrestler of the Week.
Yeah. Sorry, I was kind of looking at the only thing announced. We have Jada Parker and Lash Legend tonight. I'm just kind of looking at seeing if I get an NXT preview. I was curious.
A lot of folks saying Jada's falling off a little bit, which is unfortunate to say. I will say the greatest speed match of all time. Sol Ruka versus Jada Parker. I think Jada was filling in for an injured Lena Reed, I believe her name is. Speed matches aren't the best, but when you have 2 of the most gorgeous women in the world and Sol Ruka completely sold on. I've been sleeping.
She's so
phenomenal.
Sick. I love her.
I think she has potential to be like a megastar, and I throw the word megastar out there a lot. But
I agree.
I mean, in terms of like beyond wrestling, I think she's gonna be like a legit superstar, and maybe in movies or whatever, or if she wants to do that, I don't know. But like, she has the look, and I know this is gonna sound corny, but I watched her and Zarya do a little food vlog the other day.
Oh yeah, I think I saw that.
I haven't smiled and giggled so much in my life. They're funny. Like, she is gonna be a huge star. Why the Speed Championship is a thing, I don't know. Because she's a Speed Champion and she's the NXT North American Women's Champion.
Right.
Why not be defending the cool prestigious belt, not the weird Twitter gimmick belt? I don't know. Weird stuff. But
all right, let's go on to our wrestlers of the week before we head over to the Patreon, patreon.com/wrestling. Who's your wrestler of the week?
Wrestler of the week, I'm not going to talk too much about it because you talked about him a lot for your match of the week, but Javon Evans.
Nice.
This guy is going to be many folks were throwing out Jeff Hardy's name in terms of Jey Uso not so long ago. And I don't think it was crazy to say that. I think there is this parallels there, but I think even more so the popularity of Jeff Hardy could be attained by one Javon Evans. He is that unique, he is that special, he is that bouncy. There's something about the dude that is so phenomenal, and he has that it factor. And even his match against Josh Briggs at NXT No Mercy was really good. I can watch him do Josh Briggs got him into a choke slam, and then he changed it into a cutter.
Yes, dude. So
love that
sick.
spot so much, and then he ended up finishing it with a cutter from the top rope. This guy is special. I cannot wait to see him more for years to come.
I agree. My wrestler of the week is again, someone we talked ad nauseum about, but a lot in kayfabe and a lot out of kayfabe, because I do think this person deserves it, as much as I was kind of hypocritical about some things. But my wrestler of the week is Ricky Saints, new NXT champion. I think, again, just to put a cap on that, as much as I was like, Obafemi, Javon Evans, and Ricky, it is really cool to see this guy get what he's always dreamt about and won. This is the first major stepping stone in this company. Obviously, he had the North American Championship, but the first major stepping stone. He had the North American Championship, right? Did he not? Am I off on that? I thought he had the North American.
I don't think so.
I thought he had North Championship.
Maybe.
But anyway, regardless of if he had that title or not, this is the first big world title, massive stepping stone in this guy's WWE career. I don't know. Maybe I'll make him
FTW champion.
I mean, that's what I'm thinking. He was an FTW champion. I don't know. Why did I think that? No, wait. Yes, he did have the North American Championship.
Okay.
Defeated Shawn Spears April 1st.
Shawn Spears match. That's probably why we.
And lost to Ethan Page. Right. Okay. But yeah, I'm excited. I don't think he's gonna be in NXT too long. I do think he's gonna be like that guy for a while. But I think he's pretty main roster bound, and then we'll see him in Cody Rhodes tag team, and we'll all be happy. But that's my wrestler of the week.
Hell yeah! I will say honorable mention Jade Cargill.
Sure.
Booker to the moon.
There we go.
Star is born this Friday Night SmackDown.
Folks, that's the show. We have a bunch of questions and other stuff we're going to chat about over on the Patreon, patreon.com/Stache Club Wrestling. Please go head over there. With that said, that's the show. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. As always, we really appreciate it. Tell a friend about the show, huh? Tell a friend about the show. Leave your comments, all that stuff.
Stay curious.
You get it. And stay damn curious. We'll see you over in the Patreon, folks. We'll see you all week on the channel. And thanks again. Peace.
Long drive, field goal, and then the game ended in a tie. It's like, why not do a fucking double overtime? For Hangman Adam Page, I think he's kind of like the main character of AEW for the last 5 years at least.
Yeah, I mean, it's even something that I still struggle with, and I've always struggled with in terms of like, reading comments. And like, I'm getting to a point now where like, I still have not, I've yet to see Good Will Hunting. I have to see Good Will Hunting. I know, I've never seen it.
Oh, that's one of my favorite movies.
Ooh, Licorice Pizza, I think is one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life.